James, the January transfer window is done and dusted. How do you assess the business you managed to do throughout the month?
Yeah, really pleased with what happened in January. Obviously, we were well aware before January, sort of 2-3 months leading into it, off the back of obviously Danny coming in. There's been a lot of work gone into sort of a lot of things, but probably the biggest thing is the style that we want to play, a real emphasis on that, and the identity that we want to sort of build that around, which makes sort of January easier for us in terms of how we recruit, and the processes and strategies that we've used.
I know you're keen to maximise resources. How do you feel that you've done that?
Yeah, really well. I think again, 2-3 months leading into January, we have people sort of looking at players, looking at how the squad looks, where we need to strengthen. And if I'm being honest, it changes all the time. It's sort of a day-to-day, week-to-week thing. We've had constant meetings on where we think we are. And yeah, I feel like with the resources that we've got or had, it's been difficult and challenging, but I feel like we've come out of January with a real good squad, and some real good acquisitions moving into the last 20 games.
You must be really pleased in terms of not just the players you brought in, but in terms of how the recruitment department is working. You know, everybody coming together as one. Everybody knows what you're looking for and what type of person you want to bring in.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it was clear when I got the role and came into this job that we needed some stability and some continuity within departments. I feel like that hasn't happened over the last sort of 18 months plus. So for me personally, that was a big job and something that I feel like we've made big strides in. And then coming into January, it was a big test for us to see if we could implement them strategies and processes, and we have. I feel like I'm really proud of what we're achieving and what we've done. And yeah, it's now up to the players to perform and to win the fight, as we say, and look towards the rest of the season.
A couple of contracted players did depart during January. Kyle Noyle joined Stockport, Adam Clayton moved on to Bradford, both for different reasons, but for the right reasons for the football club.
Yeah, definitely. I think they were football-based reasons. I think Kyle Noyle, we'd spoke to, and we speak to the players on a regular basis, myself, Danny, around new contracts, and I think with Noyle, he made it clear sort of that his future wasn't at the club, and he didn't feel like that was the case, and he didn't want to sign his contract. From our perspective, we then look at, we need players to want to be at the club and want to look for the future and where we're going and what we want to do. He gave everything while he was here, and he was the ultimate pro, the way he conducted himself, but ultimately we feel like it was the right decision. And the same with Adam Clayton. With Clay, it's again sort of captained the club, give everything while he was here, but from our perspective, it was the right footballing decision. We've brought 2 players in to replace them that we feel can add value, and be just as influential, if not more, and that's where we're at with it.
Yeah, I know with James Brown in particular, you're really impressed with his numbers when you're doing your research on him, and the fact he played so many games at this level this season as well. He was almost ready-made to come in and have an impact. Yeah,
definitely, and I think he wants to be here. He's motivated to play for the club. And like you say, it's not just his numbers, although his numbers back up what we already thought. It's everything that he brings in terms of his character, in terms of his quality in the final third, and his energy to get up and down the pitch. Very similar to Noyle, but yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how James sort of moves forward with the club.
A couple of the loan lads went back as well. Of course, Josh Andrews hadn't been here for a couple of months anyway with his injury. Max Waltman then returned to Liverpool, and you've replaced those as well within the loan market.
Yeah, I think with Josh it was a tough one because he's had a niggling injury, sort of tendonitis, which is a nightmare to treat, and he's found it really difficult. It's one that it's really hard and really easy for us to move forward with. Max Waltman, yeah, Max loved his time here. We parted in a way in which he left the building, big smile on his face, not because he was leaving, it was more around his development the people that he'd met at the club. I think he lived with Kyle Hurst, and Hurst, he was gutted when he went. Two young lads sort of starting out on their journeys, on their careers. So we've got a good relationship with Liverpool. I spoke to David Woodfine on Max, and he was really pleased with how he was developing and how he'd improved and how he'd sort of grown in character. Them two sort of have departed, but we've brought in obviously Todd Miller, Charlie Lakin, and Keelan Lavery, sort of. And we feel like, with what we spoke about in terms of strategies and processes, we followed them, and they're the three that we feel like will add value.
You recruited Danny as a head coach because you wanted the club and the team to have an identity. Did that also marry into the players you were bringing in January? You look at Ben Nelson, who looked very accomplished at Mansfield, playing out from the back. He looks comfortable, doesn't he? Was that all sort of added into the melting pot? Yeah,
I think Ben's a perfect example, to be honest. I think, a second loan. He obviously went on his first loan to Rochdale. We'd watched him, we'd played against him. When we have a clear style and a clear way of playing, it's easier to then recruit. You watch Ben when he played for Rochdale. You speak to people at Leicester. You watch his Leicester games. He's clearly going to be a big player in the future. When we had the opportunity to bring him in, it was like it works for both parties. It's not just us that are looking at these players. We managed to get 2 or 3 players in that were chased by other clubs, and they want to come to Doncaster Rovers because of how we play, how we do things, our identity, in terms of the environment that we're trying to create, but also the record that we've got with loan players. I think we were one of the best in the country in terms of giving loan players an opportunity. We're really excited about Ben and the rest of the players that have come in.
Another question that people will look to now is contract renewals. Where are we with that?
I think for me personally, I think that was a big emphasis in January as well, just as important as bringing players in. It's sort of trying to make the people that we want to stay at the club feel valued going into the second half of the season. It's absolutely paramount that we do that. We have a meeting with the chairman in the next few weeks. Made it clear with who we feel like we want to offer new contracts to. We've been in conversations with agents and the players themselves. I'm really looking forward to getting that sorted, getting that sort of done so that we can move forward and everybody knows where they're going. We're all moving in the same direction collectively as a players and staff.
Because I think Danny spoke about when the Noilly situation came about, that once the offer from Stockport came and he departed, it gave him and everyone clarity, really, because ultimately you were having a player here for 6 more months that wasn't going to be here next season anyway. So once he'd gone, you had that clarity of, okay, we're planning without him now. Does that help you and help Danny, knowing who you want to keep, knowing who you do want to be here next season?
Without a doubt, I think it's clear. For us, it's short, medium, and long term. And I've been sat in the change room where you don't know where your future is, you don't know whether the club wants you to stay. And I think communication is key to most things, to be honest. So I feel like having them conversations and clearing people's minds that, look, we want you at this club, we value you. This is where we're going, come with us, and we've had them conversations, and it's just a matter of making sure that we get them contracts sorted so that these people can play their best football from now till the end of the season.
Although the result at Mansfield was disappointing, I think when you look a little bit deeper into it, there were promising signs, particularly from individuals in that second half. With 20 games to go now in the campaign, how do you assess the makeup of the squad going in really now to the business end? Yeah,
really good. I think nobody wants to lose football matches, that's a given. But there's ways to lose football matches, and I think anybody that watched that game will know that we were in the game sort of right up until the last sort of 5-10 minutes of the game. There were some really good positive individual performances, and I think that we're creating and we have assets within our squad. We've had interest in our players in January, which is testament to the recruitment process, the environment, the coaching, and everything that we're doing so far in the last 3 or 4 months. I feel like we're in a really good place. I feel like the key to what we're doing is momentum. momentum. I feel like we haven't had the opportunity to pick up that momentum with certain things happening, sort of the lack of games and not having sort of that continuity with the team selection. I think getting Tommy Rowe back, Joe Olowu, we're probably at full strength for the first time in a long time. Obviously just the absence of John Taylor and Ollie Younger. So yeah, really excited about the rest of the season and looking forward to what it holds.
And in the short term, 5 games in 14 days, the first time Danny's had anything like that since he's come in. I think it's 13 games in 4.5 months or 3.5 months, which shows that the lack of rhythm the team have had. You must be even more excited by the short term prospects.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think we have 12 game reviews. We had the first 12 games was in 64 days. The second 12 games is 104 days. So it tells you everything you need to know about sort of momentum and not getting into a rhythm and finding it sort of hard to get that. I think probably Carlisle are the example in terms of getting momentum and playing games and being able to build on that after we beat them. It's just the way football is, and it's not necessarily just about the 11 players that you go on the pitch. There's so many different factors into that. But having them games, it gives us that opportunity. I think I spoke about continuity and getting that within the group, but also within the staff. And we need support. We need people to buy into what we're trying to create, what we're trying to do, because people are working relentlessly to get this football club to where it should be and to try and get it to be a winning, successful football team.
How important are those meetings? You mentioned the 12 games review there, in looking at what you've done well and not so well over the past few weeks. I imagine there'll be certain areas you're impressed, and when you look at numbers of created chances or passes in key areas, and then other areas where everybody realises that things have got to be just a little bit better.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's crucial for staff, it's crucial for myself to see how every department's working. It was clear from the first 12 games that what we needed to put into practice, we've done that, and there was clear things that came out of the 12 game review in terms of distances, in terms of just a collective togetherness within the group has changed, clear style of play, more shots, more crosses, all these things have been sort of ticked off, and like you said, it's just a matter of continuing the processes and the strategies that we've put in place. I think actions more than words. I think we just need to go out for the next 20 games and work tirelessly, which we are, in trying to get us to where we need to be.